on the Hour with Alan King.
Good evening. A plane with 249 passengers on board was just seconds from taking off from Manchester Airport today when a fire was spotted in one of the engines. Everyone on board had to be evacuated using emergency chutes. The drama was captured by an amateur cameraman.
It was due to cross the Atlantic, but it never got off the ground. As the Continental Airlines DC-10 taxied towards the runway for takeoff, fuel was spotted leaking from the engine. Firefighters raced onto the airfield to be met by the terrifying sight of flames spurting from the plane. With the fire doused by foam, the evacuation began.
See, everybody's sliding out the plane. You see them? See, they're all using emergency chutes getting out. Look, everybody's sliding out.
One group of passengers walked out onto the wing, only to realise there was no way down, forcing them to return to the cabin. Eventually, all 249 passengers, along with the crew, slid to safety. They were rushed away from the aircraft. 3 teams of paramedics treated people at the scene for minor injuries and for shock. As smoke continued to pour from the engine, 2 passengers were taken to hospital, one with a neck injury, the other with a back problem. Both had been hurt sliding down the chutes. The drama brought back memories of August 1985, when 55 people died at Manchester Airport when an engine on a Boeing 737 exploded. This evening, those passengers who still want to travel to New Jersey are being cared for at a hotel near the airport.
Good evening. Passengers have been telling how they escaped to safety as their plane's engine caught fire just before takeoff from Manchester Airport. 249 people used emergency chutes to leave the DC-10 as fire crews raced to the scene. Roger Skowski reports.
The Continental DC-10 being removed from the runway at Manchester Airport after today's full-scale alert. It was about to fly to New Jersey when fuel began spurting from one of its engines. As fire crews doused the flames, the 249 passengers on board were forced to abandon the aircraft.
It was coming out so fast, it was coming out in a straight line, the fuel, when it was taxiing back in, so I would probably think disaster averted.
Some passengers suffered minor injuries such as cuts and bruises, but most were unhurt.
Felt like you were doing a fire drill at school, but then you realise you actually weren't.
For real?
Yeah, and because then you click that you can smell fuel and you're like, oh my God, and there was a fire engine there and firemen pointing hoses at the plane and things. So then we just got off and we just ran.
The emergency lighting came on and the doors opened and the air stewardesses started shouting, just get off the plane, get off the plane.
An investigation's begun tonight in what caused the fuel to leak.
Detectives
Just before takeoff at Manchester Airport when fuel began leaking from one of its engines. The passengers used emergency chutes to escape from the plane. Ralph Blunson reports.
The dramatic incident just before midday was filmed by an aircraft enthusiast at the airport. The passengers on the Continental Airlines DC-10 used emergency chutes to reach the runway and were taken to the terminal building.
We first went out onto the wing and then we realised our chute hadn't actually opened and there was a big drop. So there were a few people in front of me who obviously wanted to turn back and didn't know what to do. But eventually we went back into the plane and left by another route.
3 teams of paramedics treated people at the scene for minor injuries and shock. 2 people were taken to hospital with slight injuries. They've since been discharged. The drama began just before the plane was due to take off, when fuel had been seen leaking from an engine.
Some crew members noticed the smell of aviation fuel within the cabin, and this was brought to the captain's attention, and the captain then requested clearance to come back to the terminal to investigate.
A small fire in the rear engine was later extinguished. Some passengers on the flight, which had been heading for Newark in New Jersey, will now catch another plane tomorrow.